Have you ever woken up in the morning, only to find that your legs feel heavy, unresponsive, or as if they simply can't carry you? Every step you take feels like an uphill battle. What if I told you that this could be more than just a natural part of aging? Around 25% of adults over 70 experience a condition known as sarcopenia, which gradually strips away strength and mobility, leaving individuals feeling weaker and less independent. But here's the bright side: this doesn't have to be your reality. In today's video, we're going to share the inspiring story of Margaret, a 95-year-old woman who defied the odds and reversed the effects of muscle weakness. Despite the challenges that come with age, Margaret took charge of her health, regained her vitality, and discovered the joy of living with more strength and confidence. Through simple yet incredibly effective habits like dry brushing, sipping on nourishing bone broth, practicing deep breathing, and walking barefoot on natural surfaces, Margaret's journey shows us that it's never too late to rebuild your strength, no matter how old you are. Stay with us until the end to see how Margaret's transformation can motivate you to take back control of your health and well-being. You'll discover practical strategies that can help you or your loved ones combat muscle weakness, enhance mobility, and live a more active, vibrant life. Don't miss out on these life-changing tips that could completely transform how you feel every day. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. Your support means the world to me, and if you found this content valuable, please consider liking and sharing it to help spread the message. If you're enjoying the topic of today's video, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know. If you think there's room for improvement, feel free to comment 0, and I'll do my best to create even better videos for you. Now, let's dive into Margaret's story. Habit number 1. The brush massage that awakened her muscles. Margaret's journey to reclaiming her vitality began most unexpectedly, through a simple yet profoundly transformative piece of advice from a friend who was a physical therapist. "Margaret," her friend said with a warmth that carried both concern and hope, "before you start thinking about exercises or medications, you need to first wake up your muscles. Have you ever tried a dry brush massage with natural bristles?" At first, it sounded almost too simple, too unconventional, but in her heart, Margaret knew she had nothing to lose. She had spent years battling the creeping fatigue and stiffness in her body, and her frustration was mounting. She couldn't help but be drawn to the possibility that something so basic could make a difference. So, she decided to give it a chance, even if just to see if there was any truth behind the promise of such a simple technique. The process itself was surprisingly gentle, yet had the potential to ignite profound change. Using a brush made of natural bristles, Margaret followed the simple instruction of massaging her skin with dry, upward strokes, always moving toward her heart. At first, it felt odd, the bristles tickling her skin, the upward motion feeling unfamiliar. But as she continued each day, the strangeness began to fade, replaced by a quiet sense of anticipation. The dry brushing was more than just an act of skincare. It was about stimulating her blood circulation, ensuring that oxygen and essential nutrients reached her muscles where they were so desperately needed. Every stroke brought life into her tissues, giving her muscles the spark they had been missing. It wasn't just the blood flow that the brush massage promoted. As she began her routine, Margaret realized that the simple act of brushing also activated her lymphatic system, reducing the swelling that had plagued her legs for so long. It helped flush out toxins, those silent saboteurs that had been contributing to her muscle weakness and the frustrating limitations in her mobility. The process felt like a quiet revolution happening under her skin. At first, Margaret didn't notice much, but soon enough, subtle changes started to show. Her legs felt less heavy, less stiff. The ache that had been her constant companion seemed to fade, and the effort it took just to get out of bed became a fraction of what it had been. It was as if her body had remembered what it meant to feel light again. This simple morning ritual, one she spent just 5 to 10 minutes on, was no longer just about her physical health. It had become a symbol of her resilience, a small victory every day. The brush strokes, soft but firm, awakened something deep within her. They weren't just waking up her muscles, They were reconnecting her to her strength, physically and emotionally. The act of caring for her body in such a tender way allowed her to believe, if only for a moment, that she was still capable of healing, still capable of change. It filled her with hope each time she stood before the mirror, brushing herself into a new kind of awareness. She'd start at her feet and slowly move up to her shoulders, feeling the gentle pressure of the brush as it worked its magic, all while knowing that this was the first step toward restoring the vitality she thought she had lost forever. Afterward, Margaret would follow up with natural coconut oil, massaging it into her skin to lock in the hydration and extend that feeling of freshness. The oil wasn't just a soothing balm for her skin, it was a symbol of her commitment to herself, of choosing to nourish not only her body but her spirit. This routine became her anchor, a reminder that even the smallest actions can lead to profound change. Scientific research supports what Margaret felt intuitively. Dry brushing can increase blood circulation by up to 25%, improve muscle oxygenation, and stimulate the lymphatic system. These physiological changes worked to eliminate the toxins that had contributed to her muscle weakness. But beyond the physical benefits, it was the emotional connection Margaret had rediscovered with herself that made all the difference. The touch of the brush, the gentle stimulation of her skin, began to awaken neuromuscular connections that had grown dormant over time. It was as if the very act of touching herself, of caring for her body, reawakened a deeper connection to her inner strength. For Margaret, this brush massage became more than just a self-care routine. It was a powerful metaphor for reclaiming the parts of herself she thought had been lost. It reminded her that the path to healing, both physically and emotionally, often begins with the simplest of gestures. In those early morning moments of quiet, when the brush would glide across her skin, Margaret found the courage to believe that even the smallest actions could bring about lasting transformation. Habit number 2. The nourishing bone broth that restored strength. Margaret's journey to reclaiming her health was not a simple one. She had spent years feeling weak, struggling with muscle loss and fatigue that seemed to drain the joy from her life. It wasn't until she realized that healing must start from within that her life truly began to change. Her granddaughter, a bright young woman studying nutrition, shared a gift that would transform Margaret's outlook on her health, a time-honored recipe for bone broth passed down through generations in their family. At first, Margaret couldn't quite understand how something so simple could hold such power. A humble pot of broth? Surely there was more to it than that. But the look in her granddaughter's eyes, filled with a confidence and knowledge Margaret had come to respect, made her pause and wonder if perhaps she had missed something profound. Intrigued, Margaret decided to give it a try. And little did she know, this decision would set her on a path of rejuvenation that she hadn't thought possible. As she sipped the warm, nourishing liquid, something inside her seemed to stir, a quiet, deep sensation of relief, like a healing balm that slowly seeped into every fiber of her being. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Bone broth, often overlooked in its simplicity, is a treasure trove of nutrients, bursting with collagen, essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, and amino acids that are critical for muscle regeneration and overall vitality. Margaret, now seeing this ancient recipe through a new lens, was amazed to learn how these components played a vital role in rebuilding muscle and strength. For someone like Margaret, whose body had become fragile with age, this humble broth was exactly what she needed. It wasn't just food, it was life itself, wrapped in the most unexpected form. She prepared the broth with meticulous care, ensuring each ingredient was infused with love and purpose. 2 pounds of beef or chicken bones, preferably with plenty of cartilage, served as the foundation for this nourishing potion. A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar was added, its tangy essence working to pull every last bit of mineral from the bones. Garlic, fresh and potent, found its place alongside a small piece of ginger, bringing warmth and healing. An onion added depth, while a handful of herbs, rosemary and parsley, brought balance and flavor. All these ingredients were simmered for a full 12 hours. The process felt meditative to Margaret. Each hour that passed seemed to bring her closer to something bigger, something beyond what she had initially anticipated. The first cup she drank was warm, comforting, like a hug from the inside out. At first, Margaret didn't feel much. She'd always been cautious with new things, waiting to see if the promises matched reality. But with each sip, there was something subtle yet undeniable: energy. At first it was a flicker, almost imperceptible, but over time it grew stronger, more vibrant. Margaret felt a warmth spread through her veins as the heat from the broth seemed to awaken her body. She noticed the small things first, the way her mood lifted, how she felt just a little more hopeful, a little more alive. But soon, the changes grew impossible to ignore. Her muscle weakness, the constant fatigue, the aching joints that had tormented her for years, bit by bit, they all began to fade. The constant companion of discomfort that had overshadowed her life became a distant memory. In its place, she began to feel firmer muscles, joints less creaky, and a body that was coming back to life in ways she hadn't imagined. The science behind it all was clear. Collagen from the bones worked wonders on her muscles and joints. Magnesium and calcium strengthened her bones and aided in muscle contraction. Ginger and garlic, known for their powerful anti-inflammatory properties, sped up her recovery. But for Margaret, this wasn't just a nutritional breakthrough, it was the beginning of her comeback. This simple bowl of broth had become her source of strength, not only healing her body but also nourishing her spirit. It gave her confidence in herself again. It reminded her that it's never too late to take charge of your health, to nourish your body, to fight back against the ravages of time with something as simple, yet profound, as bone broth. And so, Margaret found herself once again able to handle the everyday tasks that once drained her. She could walk, lift, move with greater ease, all thanks to that nourishing elixir. It wasn't just a remedy for the body, it was a reminder of her resilience, her ability to heal, and her refusal to give up on herself. That warm cup of broth was so much more than food. It was a symbol of strength, of hope, and of the incredible power that lies in the simplest of rituals. Habit number 3. Deep breathing that regenerated her muscles. Even after experiencing the positive effects of the massage and nourishing bone broth, Margaret still felt like her body wasn't fully recovering. There were days when, despite having a lighter activity level, she would wake up still feeling tired, with a sensation that her muscles just weren't regenerating the way they should. It was during one of her routine checkups that her doctor revealed a surprising secret, something Margaret never expected. Her breathing habits were directly affecting her muscle recovery. "You mean the way I breathe can impact my muscles?" Margaret thought, a bit skeptical. But the doctor explained that deep breathing does more than simply relax the body. It improves the oxygenation of tissues and accelerates muscle regeneration. As people age, many tend to breathe more shallowly, which limits the amount of oxygen reaching the muscles. Without enough oxygen, muscle recovery becomes significantly slower, and fatigue becomes harder to shake off. Determined to try anything that could help her body heal, Margaret began practicing deep breathing exercises. She started with a technique called the 4-7-8 method, which is known for its profound ability to relax the body and encourage deeper oxygen intake. Every morning and before bed, Margaret would find a comfortable, quiet space to sit, close her eyes, and follow this rhythm. 1. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds. 2. Hold the breath for 7 seconds. 3. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 8 seconds. To maximize the benefits of this practice, she focused on maintaining an upright posture, allowing her lungs to fully expand as she breathed. Margaret made this practice part of her daily routine, setting aside 10 minutes each day for deep breathing. As she grew more accustomed to the practice, it became a peaceful moment of mindfulness and relaxation. Within just a few days, Margaret began to notice a significant shift. She woke up feeling more refreshed, with the overwhelming sense of fatigue slowly diminishing. Her muscles, too, seemed to recover more quickly after daily activities, and she found that she could handle tasks with more ease. Beyond muscle regeneration, deep breathing had an overall positive impact on Margaret's well-being. Research shows that deep breathing increases tissue oxygenation, accelerates muscle regeneration, and reduces fatigue. Additionally, controlled breathing stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps to lower stress levels, improve relaxation, and promote better sleep quality. Key factors for muscle recovery. For Margaret, deep breathing became more than just a physical exercise. It was a way to reconnect with her body, calm her mind, and speed up her recovery journey. Habit number 4. The walking stick that reactivated her strength. Margaret had already noticed some significant improvements in her strength, but she knew that to fully recover her muscle power, she needed safe and effective physical exercises. She understood that if she didn't actively challenge her muscles now, they could continue to deteriorate. Have you ever heard of stick exercises? This ancient technique may sound simple, but it's incredibly effective for strengthening muscles without putting undue strain on the body. Margaret, intrigued and determined to continue her progress, decided to give it a try. At first glance, the walking stick seemed like just a regular object, but soon she discovered it was a powerful tool for her recovery. Using the walking stick helped improve her body alignment and posture while, most importantly, reactivating her muscle strength in a safe, controlled way. Margaret began to incorporate the walking stick into her daily routine. Whether sitting or standing, she held the stick with both hands and slowly raised it in front of her body, lifting it to shoulder height. She held the position for a few seconds before lowering it back down. This movement helped activate her shoulder and arm muscles. Next, Margaret took the stick behind her shoulders and rotated her torso from side to side, strengthening her spine and improving her mobility. To work on her legs, she used the stick for support while lowering herself into a gentle squat, which strengthened her legs and hips. In the beginning, these movements were slow and required intense concentration, but as she practiced regularly, Margaret felt her muscles becoming firmer and her posture more upright. Tasks that once felt challenging, like standing up from a chair, were now completed with ease and confidence. Margaret also noticed that her walking had become more stable, and she felt comfortable doing activities she had previously avoided due to fear of losing her balance. Studies show that stick exercises are incredibly effective in activating stabilizing muscles, improving balance, and increasing muscle strength in older adults. The walking stick serves as a tool for safety during movement, allowing the body to exercise without the fear of falling or injury. For Margaret, this simple stick became much more than an exercise aid. It symbolized her independence. It was a reminder that, no matter her age, she still could take control of her health and maintain her autonomy. Habit number 5. Antioxidant-rich nutrition. As Margaret's physical activity increased and she began to feel her strength returning, she knew that to continue rebuilding her muscles, she needed to fuel her body with the right kind of nutrition. One day, during a conversation with her granddaughter, who was studying nutrition, Margaret learned a crucial lesson. Her granddaughter explained the vital role that antioxidant-rich foods and amino acids play in muscle health. "Grandma, what you eat is just as important as the exercises you do. Your muscles need the right proteins and antioxidants to rebuild stronger," her granddaughter said. Determined to follow this advice, Margaret decided to revamp her diet to include foods that could fight oxidative stress and provide the essential building blocks her body needed for muscle recovery. Margaret's new diet included a variety of nutrient-dense foods, each chosen to help her muscles rebuild and stay strong. For example, she started adding quinoa to her meals, replacing regular rice. Quinoa is packed with complete proteins and essential amino acids, both of which are crucial for muscle regeneration. Along with quinoa, Margaret began incorporating red fruits like blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries into her diet. These fruits are powerful sources of antioxidants, which help combat oxidative stress and protect muscles from damage. Margaret would enjoy a handful of these fruits for breakfast or as an afternoon snack, feeling energized and revitalized. Next, she introduced pumpkin and chia seeds into her meals, both rich in magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids. These nutrients are essential for muscle function and help reduce inflammation, which was key to her recovery. Margaret often added these seeds to yogurt or sprinkled them on top of her salads. She also made sure to include plenty of dark, leafy greens in her diet, particularly spinach and kale. These vegetables are loaded with iron and vitamin K, which not only help oxygenate her muscles but also strengthen her bones. Margaret would stir these greens into soups and add them to her stir-fries, making sure to get a healthy serving every day. Another significant addition to her diet was chickpeas, which are an excellent source of plant-based proteins and fiber. Chickpeas helped maintain steady energy throughout the day, and Margaret enjoyed them in homemade hummus or tossed in her salads. By incorporating these nutrient-dense foods into her meals, Margaret quickly noticed a dramatic improvement in her energy levels and overall mood. Her muscles were responding better to her exercise routine, and the weakness she had once felt started to fade. She also noticed improvements in her skin, better sleep quality, and even enhanced concentration. Studies have shown that diets rich in antioxidants and high-quality proteins can aid in muscle regeneration and help prevent sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. Foods like quinoa, red fruits, and seeds are especially important for maintaining muscle mass and energy in older adults. For Margaret, food was not just a source of sustenance. It became the foundation for a stronger, more vibrant, and independent life. Habit number 6. Walking barefoot on natural textures. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. By the time Margaret had overcome much of the muscle weakness that had once held her back, she realized she wasn't content with merely maintaining her progress. She wanted more. She wanted to reconnect with her body in a way she had never experienced before. What began as a simple walk in the park soon became a transformative practice that would deepen her connection to herself and her strength. One day, while watching children run freely on the grass, her granddaughter suggested, "Grandma, have you ever heard about the benefits of walking barefoot? Walking on grass, sand, or other natural surfaces can help strengthen your muscles in ways you wouldn't believe." Intrigued by the idea, Margaret decided to try this practice of walking barefoot on natural textures. The results were nothing short of remarkable. Walking barefoot not only strengthened the stabilizing muscles of her feet and legs, but it also improved her balance, circulation, and gave her a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in years. Margaret began by walking barefoot on a small patch of grass in her garden. The cool sensation of the grass under her feet was both refreshing and revitalizing. As she took each step, she could feel the muscles in her feet and legs activating, working in ways they hadn't in a long time. As she grew more confident in her barefoot walking, Margaret started to explore different natural surfaces, such as soft sand and smooth pebbles. Each texture provided a unique challenge for her muscles, further improving her strength and stability. But the benefits weren't only physical, there was an emotional impact as well. Walking barefoot allowed Margaret to reconnect with the earth beneath her feet, bringing her a sense of grounding and peace. The practice helped reduce stress and provided an overall sense of well-being that had been missing from her life. In just a few weeks, Margaret experienced a profound transformation. Her feet became stronger, her balance greatly improved, and she felt more confident walking, even on uneven terrain. The sense of lightness and freedom she now enjoyed was something she hadn't felt in years. Studies have shown that walking barefoot on natural surfaces activates muscles that are rarely engaged when wearing shoes, strengthening the feet, ankles, and legs. Additionally, barefoot walking improves balance, reduces the risk of falls, and promotes blood circulation. The physical benefits are clear, but the emotional impact of connecting with the earth also plays a crucial role in overall mental well-being, reducing the stress that can hinder muscle health. For Margaret, walking barefoot was more than just exercise. It was a powerful reconnection to her strength and a celebration of her independence. Today, at 95 years old, Margaret is no longer the woman who feared losing her independence. She not only overcame muscle weakness but also rediscovered the joy of living with vitality and autonomy. What once seemed impossible, like getting out of bed with ease, walking without fear of falling, or tending to her garden with energy, is now part of her everyday routine. But perhaps the most important change wasn't just the strength of her muscles. Margaret regained confidence in herself. Each simple habit, from the brush massage to the barefoot walks, was a step toward a more active, healthy, and fulfilling life. And for you, watching this story, it's important to know that it's never too late to begin. Muscle weakness and loss of mobility don't have to be a part of aging. Small, consistent changes in your daily routine can transform not just your body, but also the quality of your life. It's time to take action and embrace the possibility of a stronger, more vibrant future. As we've seen through Margaret's inspiring journey, it's never too late to take control of your health and reclaim your strength. From the simple but powerful habits like dry brushing, nourishing bone broth, deep breathing, walking with a stick, antioxidant-rich nutrition, to walking barefoot on natural surfaces, each one plays a key role in improving mobility, boosting vitality, and enhancing overall well-being. So, what have you learned so far? Which habit do you think could make the biggest impact on your life? I'd love to hear from you. Please share one thing you've learned today and plan to bring into your own life in the comments below this video. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps us continue bringing you valuable content to inspire healthier, more fulfilling lives. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see how these habits transform your life.